Hey guys, just wanted to hop in here really quick before you get ready for your next lesson. If you landed on this video for the first time, I just want you to know that Milestone Monday is an actual series, and I will have that link below in the description. It's tidbits of information from myself, a pediatric developmental therapist who's done this for over 10 years, focusing on little ones ages birth to 36 months. Think of it as having a real-life pediatric developmental therapist in your home. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and keep going. Okay, today's lesson is all about cooing. Now, cooing isn't just cute, even though it's absolutely adorable. It's actually your baby's first communication. And I want to break this down for you guys today. Talk a little bit about cooing, babbling, and then also some red flags to watch out for. And then I will give you an example of cooing, babbling, and the different stages of that. Okay, so why cooing matters, and we've kind of already touched base on this, but cooing is your baby's first communication step. It's not just that cute babbling that we hear. It is the beginning of something really special. It's actually the beginning of first words. I mean, they have to start somewhere, right? So they're starting at cooing. Now, cooing actually begins around 6 to 8 weeks, and it signals that your baby is learning how to use their voice to connect with the world around them. Again, it's not just babble. It's actually the beginning of their communication journey, which is so important. But what's really amazing is how cooing reflects social awareness. Remember how I've been talking through this whole series about how milestones are interconnected? Well, babies coo in response to your voice, your smile, and even your eye contact. So they're showing us that they're tuned into social interactions. And that is a huge milestone. And here's something even more incredible. Cooing actually helps babies learn the rhythm of conversation. So you'll notice that they'll make a sound, then pause and wait for you to respond. That back and forth is early turn taking, just like in real conversation. So when your baby does coo right back. You're building that foundation for strong communication and also deep connection with you. So let's go ahead and break down cooing a little bit more. Cooing actually begins between 2 to 4 months. So by that 4-month mark, your baby should be cooing. You'll start to hear those sweet, sweet cooing sounds like the ohhs and the ahhh sounds. These are those vowel-like productions that mark the very beginning of your baby using their voice to communicate. And then between 4 to 6 months, we get into babbling. And this is the stage that we call marginal babbling. During this stage, your little one will begin to combine vowel and consonant-like sounds together. So you might hear simple sounds like da or ma or ba. So they're going from vowel productions to combining the consonant vowel, da, ma, ba. Can you guess what comes next? Yep, if you guess from 6 to 10 months, we have canonical babbling, and this is where they repeat. So you will hear repeated consonant vowel combinations, so that ma turns into ma, 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 ma. That da turns into da, 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 da. And as a developmental therapist, my wheels get to spinning because this signifies an exciting sign that speech patterns are really, really starting to form. And then around that 8 to 10, we have something called variegated babbling. This is where your baby strings together a mix of different syllables. So you might hear things that obviously don't make sense, but it is definitely a precursor of language development. So you'll hear sounds like ba, da, ga that are mixed together. You're beginning to hear some sounds that are more like speech and actually shows that they're learning how to coordinate those sounds in more complex ways. And each of these stages builds on the last. This helps your baby move closer to saying their very, very first word. Okay, so how can we encourage cooing? There are a few things that we can do on a daily basis to help your baby out with this. So the first thing I want you to do is position yourself at your baby's eye level. This allows them to clearly see your facial expressions and actually see how your mouth moves, which helps them learn how sounds are formed. And then make sure that you are talking slowly and pausing. Use a gentle, calm voice and leave space after you speak. These pauses are very, very important because they actually give your baby time to respond, even if it's just a little coo. This helps establish the natural back and forth rhythm of conversation. This actually shows your baby that their voice matters and that communication is a shared experience. You're teaching them that when they make a sound, someone listens and responds to them. These are very simple, responsive interactions, but they build your baby's confidence and lay the foundation for future language development, all while strengthening your connection with your little one. And I want you to remember that every coo is a conversation. Number one, use short, simple phrases because these are easier for your baby to focus on and begin to understand. Number two, remember to pause. Don't rush to fill the silence. Wait expectantly. Babies need that space to process and respond in their own way. And your baby might even respond with a coo, a smile, or even a little wiggle. It may seem small, but this is your baby's way of joining in on the conversation. And then number four, acknowledge their response. Smile at them or coo back at them. This teaches your baby that their voice matters and they're part of a shared interaction. This back and forth interaction builds the foundation for language connection and confidence. Every coo is a conversation and you are their favorite person to talk to. Okay, guys, next I want to talk a little bit about when to seek support. Now, before I get to that slide, because you're going to start reading, I just want you to remember that every baby develops at their own pace. And whether you're in my academy or you're watching a free YouTube video or a free workshop, you're going to hear me say that over and over again. Actually, in one of my courses, we talk about how it's not an exact date. It's a timeline of development. Just like, for walking, babies can start walking all the way from 9 months to 18 months. So I want you to remember that every baby develops at their own pace. However, as a therapist, we do have milestone markers that we look at. And I just want to be completely transparent with you and let you know what we're looking for. If I was to go into a house and evaluate a child, these are some of the things that I would be looking for. Now, does it mean that they have a delay or there should be cause for concern? Not necessarily, but it's definitely something to put on your radar, maybe speak to your pediatrician about. Or if you want, you can even reach out to the early intervention program, which I will leave a link in the description below. It's birth to 3 program, and you as a parent can refer. You do not have to wait for a pediatrician to refer to the early intervention program. If your baby is not cooing by 3 months, you might want to talk to your pediatrician. Even if there's no vocalization or even cooing, like I said, by 3 months. By 2 months, most babies have already begun to coo. And then no smiling by 3 months. Babies usually begin to show social smiles around 6 to 8 weeks. Anything before that is usually a reflex smile. But then you actually see them starting to social smile, which means smiling at you to get a reaction, like a smile back, or smiling at you after you smile to them. And then no vocal play or sound exploration. So babies often begin exploring their voice. Well, up until this point, they should have been exploring their voice by cooing, starting to make different sounds. But then you'll see it turn into squealing, blowing raspberries, and combining different sounds. If you're not seeing that kind of vocal play, it's definitely worth noting. And then, of course, we have lack of eye contact. So babies typically begin making eye contact by 6 to 8 weeks. And if your baby isn't looking at your face, you might want to bring it up with your provider. Especially during feeding time, you will see your little one looking intently at your face. Now, I'm not saying that in 6 to 8 weeks, you're calling their name and they're looking in that direction. That comes a lot later. But especially when you're having those moments of talking to them, feeding them, they should be looking in your face and at your eyes. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up a little bit, I do have some examples of my granddaughter 1 month through 7 months, I believe, cooing. And you can see that transition from cooing to that variegated babbling if you want to stick around, which I'd love for you to stick around. I do want to remind you that Milestone Mondays is a playlist. You can go to my YouTube channel, click on playlist. You'll find all the playlists that I do, or it will be linked below. And then also don't forget to grab, I've got a couple freebies. I have my Ultimate Baby and Toddler Milestone Kit, and I'm always running a workshop. So make sure you snag those. If you have any questions or want to see a specific training, feel free to comment below. Let's go ahead and keep going, and I will show you my granddaughter. As promised, I wanted to go ahead and show you some progression of little Laney. Let's go back to her 1 month. And I want you to see the progression of her cooing.
Oh my! Oh my goodness, it's talking.
So there you're hearing some of those ahhh sounds. And then let's go to her 2 month. Actually, I've got a couple good ones here. So let's see. This one I'm going to start.
Yes. What? Yeah. Oh, that was sweet. Yeah. 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 You're so cute. Oh, goodness. Yeah, get it on video, Miss Mia. Yeah. You talking? Huh? Are you talking? Come on. Come on, tell me. Tell me some more. Come on. Yeah? Really? Did they do that? Huh? Yeah? There's so much to say. Mm-hmm. So much. Hold on, tell me some more. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I know. Oh boy. So then so excited, huh? Yeah. Yes. Yes. I know. You're such a sweetheart.
So there she is trying to figure out her language. Definitely hear some cooing there. I think eventually she could hear the sound of the mat that she was on. So you saw her kicking her legs and getting a little bit more excited.
Hi. 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 You're funny. You sound pretty. Hi. Yeah.
Again, trying to figure out how her mouth works, what those sounds are coming out from her. You could hear a lot of the eh sounds at this point. And then this one is her at 3 months.
Hey. Hey. Laney. Oh, yeah.
She's getting a little more vocal there. She's understanding that those sounds are actually coming out of her mouth. Here's another one.
What? Oh my goodness.
Okay, and then let's see. We have her giggling. This is 5 months. And I want you to understand a few things here. So not only is she obviously giggling and responding to her mom making that funny sound, but look at her eye contact. She's definitely engaged in the activity that's going on. She kind of stops to wait to see if it's going to happen again. A lot of times babies will screech like that, especially once they have found their voice. And then this one, she's 6 months in.
Did you poop?
And what I want to point out in this one, you know, her mom's talking to her. She's looking at her. She's got great eye contact. And here in a minute, she'll actually respond to her.
No, Zara, not you. Did you poop? Yeah, just a little bit.
She is so cute. She is definitely our world. And then we have her at 7 months. Here she's playing peekaboo. And a couple things I want to point out here is she's kind of holding the blanket up on her own and pulling it down. And then she realizes her mom said peekaboo. And then she's like, hey, if I put this up to my face and pull it down, she says peekaboo.
Peekaboo! Do it! Peekaboo! Peekaboo! Peekaboo!
So then obviously it becomes this fun little game for her. And then we have her blowing raspberries here. Her thinking grandma's crazy for repeating back to her. So let's go to 1:15 where she starts blowing raspberries and actually imitating them. Again, she's 7 months in this. Let's see, right about here.
To blow raspberries. Good job. Blow raspberries. You're silly.
And then we have, okay, so this one, she is 7 months. And I want you to notice in this one, she is actually mimicking or imitating her dad, kind of popping his lips. And then here in a minute, I'll point it out to you, but it's right around 19 seconds. You start to hear some of that variegated babbling that we had talked about.
Honestly.
So I don't know if you heard that, but that was more than the ah or the ah sounds. She's starting to string those consonants together. So, and those syllables. There you go. There is a brief, actually it turned out to be more than I thought, description of Laney babbling. All right.